Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
I did not end up making shepherd's pie last night, even though our girls, Murphy, came home, Taylor and Phoebe, to eat dinner with us.
Well, you were following your no experimental rule, right? First time you make something, don't serve it to guests?
Right. The first time I cook something, it's not, here's the first time. I hope it's good.
Although I know it would have been great. You know, I mean, these are all ingredients. Shepherd's pie is certainly not the most complex thing in the world to make.
Not from what I understand.
So it would have been a home run.
Thanks for saying that.
Were they expecting shepherd's pie?
No, they had no idea. That's the way I overthink. They wouldn't care if they rolled in and I had peanut butter and jelly for them. You know, they wouldn't care. When I knew they were coming over and it was just going to be the four of us because Taylor's boyfriend, Alan Michael, couldn't make it after all. I actually thought it would be five of us, but it was just the four of us. And so I just did something that I've done forever, which is just red sauce. And I had slow cooked it. I dropped it in the slow cooker in the middle of the day on high. And I came back to work. It was just one of those busy days. And I was frazzled. So I was not in a position to try to make something new. I just wanted to visit with them. But I will say this, two things. I was glad I didn't make it because I told them this. I'm like, I was going to surprise you guys with shepherd's pie because it's St. Patty's Day. That was last night. And they were both like, I'm good. Neither one of them were over the moon about the idea about shepherd's pie.
Oh, and they've had shepherd's pie before.
Yeah,
huh?
and they kind of feel like, meh.
Oh.
I mean, I understand that. You don't understand that? It's a
good
it's a
hearty
plain
meal.
But it's plain.
Oh.
There's really nothing.
I wouldn't have made it plain, though.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. I think Jodi would have. I think probably if you take the original recipe, and look, maybe there are some families that, really make it more flavorful. Otherwise, seriously, it's just meat, potatoes, and vegetables. I mean, to me, there's nothing that is. So I get what they're saying, which is probably why we haven't,
I bring it up, though, because I realize that the reason it doesn't sound that appealing to me. I don't like sloppy joes.
Oh.
And you do, right?
Yeah.
And we used to eat those. My mom would make those when we were growing up because my brother liked them. And I just thought that was the least excited I ever got about a meal.
Yeah, I understand that. That was the same for me. In fact, today, I can actually, I haven't had one
Push
in forever.
that away.
If I'm going to do something that's meat on a sandwich like that, it's going to be pulled pork or something that's better than ground meat. Yeah, really is. It's a sloppy Joe is just kind of
so when we do have your grandmother's shepherd's pie recipe on our website at murphysamandjodi.com, but I also zhuzhed it up. There were a couple of notes, Jodi's additions, I would add beef broth here, I would add a gravy, or I would add tomato paste because it has none of that.
Yeah, it needs that extra punch to it. If you're really going to make it a very savory dish, it needs to be seasoned.
I was introduced to shepherd's pie by my last ex, my last wife.
Okay.
She made it because I had never eaten it before, and to me, in my head, it was one of those things when I'd hear the words, I'd go, ugh, because I didn't know what it was.
Sure.
But so it was just instantly, ugh.
And then she made it.
I ate it, and I was like, oh, well, this is good.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I got that recipe.
Good.
Does it have all the extra stuff, though, that makes it more flavorful?
It's got beer in it, too.
Right.
Okay, that makes it more flavorful.
Cooks off,
but
okay.
It has a light beer in it, and then, I've zhuzhed it up, too, by adding the carrots and peas and, a little extra stuff. I use beef broth in mine, too, for a little more.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Yeah, to me, that's the key. It's got to have that. Otherwise, the basic recipe is missing that kind of that extra savory kick.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. So I'm glad I didn't make it for them because I would have gone to the extra trouble of making something that I have to think about. I'm that kind of cook that I don't really have. I make so many things all the time on repeat that I don't have to think much in the kitchen, which makes it lovely. I play music. So when I'm making something new, I wasn't in the shape to do that yesterday because it was a long day at work. I rolled in. I was putting together our dinner. I made some spaghetti squash, and we're going to get to that because that's something I'm playing with. I wasn't in the right condition to do that. So I rolled in. They were about to be there. I'm still all dressed. I'm standing there in heels like this crazy woman.
Well, we all thought we were going to go out to eat for a minute, so we were all dressed to go eat.
Yeah,
not dressed
sorry.
up. But just,
I put red sauce on to cook. But anyway,
A good Irish meal, huh?
Yeah, right. Irish stallion.
I did buy these beautiful spaghetti squash, and I do love them, and I want to experiment more with them. I've always made them the basic way, which I'm going to tell you here right now. If you've never made spaghetti squash, you buy it. Now, they say cut it first and then cook it. But I like to cook it about halfway and then take it out, then cut it because it's easier to cut. Most of the kitchen injuries in our time now apparently are from people trying to cut these huge, hard spaghetti squash.
Well, Taylor, our oldest daughter, experienced that. She actually had to get stitches.
And she was cutting a spaghetti squash.
Yeah.
So I put the oven at 400. I put the spaghetti squash in there. I put a little bit of
Did you say Paschetti?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she did. Do you like Paschettios too?
Spaghetti squash. I put a little bit of olive oil on the outside of it. Not that you need to, but I've had the outside sort of get charred.
I like that. It's brown. Well, it browns it a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
So I do put it in for like 10 minutes, 15, take it out, then cut it, then try to get the guts out. But it's not fully cooked yet. But the trick to spaghetti squash doing it working correctly in the oven is once you've sliced it in half like that, you don't stick it in there with the halves up. The open side goes down so that it sort of cooks that little thing that's like a dome.
Yeah.
And so the inside sort of cooks inside itself. That's the best way to cook spaghetti squash. And I want to say overall it's about 40 minutes. So it's about 40 from start to finish, even with the taking it out, slicing, getting the guts out, and flipping it. And when you have it wide open and you've got the guts out, then you do the salt. Some people do pepper. We don't do pepper because of Murphy. And then we do a little bit of olive oil in there. And that's how you then flip it over and bake it. And it is so good. Murphy, trying to eat fewer carbs, put his red sauce in the spaghetti.
It's almost like eating it as a bowl. It is so awesome because by itself, it's not.
It's good.
It's delicious. It needs salt. I mean, it's fairly plain if you don't.
It's squash.
But when you put something on top of it and treat it like a bowl, Jodi's done that with a couple of different things. The red sauce was delicious because you also have the Parmesan on top of it. You did. It was really just sort of a using what you've got in the house thing. But I thought it was delicious. Jodi did ground chicken. And there was this feta that she had bought at one of the vegetable markets, whatever. So it's farm fresh. And
I seasoned the meat too and put. So I'm just trying. I've been trying to help him be more low carb.
Well, and I like that. I mean, I'm all good with those substitutes because that fills me up. Because it's my tendency on red sauce, of course, is going to be pasta. And a half cup of pasta to me, which is quote unquote a serving, is not really a serving.
One little bit.
But I'm just trying to I'm trying to avoid all of that.
I know.
And so it's an awesome substitute, and you don't notice the difference because it's filling and treating it like a bowl. I don't know if you just tripped over that or if that's something you read about.
That's how you're supposed to.
Is that how it's supposed to be served? Because it's really good.
I guess some people you scrape, and you maybe take it out and put it on a plate. But why would you do that? Once you scrape and get all the good squash, you just eat it. Well, so why not put stuff in it?
Yeah, I've seen it plated like that at restaurants before, where they take it and it's a side, but it's a garnish, and it's kind of a mix of of both.
Yeah,
but it's really
that's
good.
The way I do it. 40 minutes in the oven. A lot of people, it's probably easier to cut it first as far as cooking. But if you're nervous about cutting it, I like to soften it a little bit before I slice into that thing. The only pain for me of cooking spaghetti squash is getting the guts out, because I was trying to go too fast last night because the girls were there and I'm trying to please everybody. And I want to hurry up. I want to hurry up and get on the get at the table. And so I missed some of the guts. I think there was some seeds in mine. So.
Although I only spit out a few seeds, it wasn't awful.
It's really delicious though. So I'm going to play with other ways to cook spaghetti squash, but I've seen other people do it differently too.
What I love about this, and it goes back to what you were saying a second ago, Sam, where you had never tried shepherd's pie in your life, but you immediately went bleh.
Yeah.
Although you had zero knowledge of it, you had never tried it. You're not basing that on anything other than, and that's a common human condition, I think.
We all.
And if you allow yourself to stay there, you're never going to try anything new. You'll be eating the same things the same way you've done since you were a kid. The joy to me of what Jodi's experimenting with is every now and then you might come across something you don't like, but every now and then you're going to come across something new and fresh and fun. And it's fun to discover a new delicacy or a new twist.
What you've been missing.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and what's funny is that those small spaghetti squash that I bought that were like the size of smaller than a football, they were delicious. I also ordered some where I did a grocery pickup. And when you order, you don't know what size they are. You just order 2 spaghetti squash. These are huge. I'm not going to try to cut into those. I mean, you could hurt somebody with that one. It's the size of a watermelon almost. It's so big. I have those. I'm going to try to cook those this week. But it's also a long game. Yeah. You cook that slow and low, kind of. And people would say 400 is not low, but that's what it takes to cook the inside of that.
Yeah, if it's going to be soft, because if your first experience is it being undercooked,
you're not going to like it.
It's not al dente. It's just too tough, right?
Yeah, you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
So,
how do you cook your baked potatoes?
Okay. Everybody asks me this all the time. I do not wrap them in foil.
Okay.
Because if you do that, they're going to get soggy. So I wash them, put holes in them with a fork. I also rub them with a little bit of oil. I don't know why. I've never been told to do that. That's just my game in the kitchen. I put them in the oven I put foil on the pan, and I want to say 400, 380 or 400 for 30 minutes or so until you can just see. For me, it's sweet potatoes that I bake more than regular, and you can just see stuff like dripping out of there. When you see it dripping out of there, the sweet juice, it's ready.
Yeah.
But then I take it out and I check it with a fork. Then I roll them in foil because it holds the heat.
Yeah.
Why? What about you? There's a million ways to do it.
I just learned a new way to cook it, and it's without the foil. I've always been oil them, salt and pepper them, foil them, and throw them in the oven.
It makes it soggy, the outside.
This recipe or this method I saw was, and this woman did it at 425 for an hour 15.
Ooh.
And I tried it, and it was unbelievable. The crust, the skin was so crispy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which, you rub them with oil, you stab them, rub them with oil, and you can put salt and pepper on them if you want. And then you put them in the oven just on the rack.
Right.
Under the rack, you put the foil, so anything that drips, it goes there. And 425, I pulled them out, and it's like they just fall right open. And
the inside.
The inside is so creamy, and the skin is just like crisp.
The foil is somehow,
so good.
If you wrap it in foil to bake it, you're somehow robbing it of that contrast of the crispy outside and the really soft inside.
Yeah.
To me, that's a trick. And I don't really bake regular potatoes anymore. If we bake potatoes, they're sweet potatoes. So that's how I do sweet. Long time ago, I would do baked potatoes in the microwave, but it's been so long I couldn't even tell you. In the little bag.
Yeah, it's a sweet potato, choice.
Yeah, it's just more nutrients. I think
if I'm gonna do a baked potato, it'll probably be at a restaurant and not at home. But Jodi makes delicious sweet potatoes.
They're easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will let you know of the other ways that we're going to start experimenting because we have like 3 or 4 spaghetti squash on the counter right now, just looking at me, waiting.
Give me one. I'm loving it.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.